Welcome, isn't it? Good to know I was appreciated.
Show how to disagree agreeably.
You should have not to answer.
From you.
You could. You could. Don't you didn't answer. Good line from you, yeah.
The first question was about inflation and the impact in relation to the challenges that you are facing. So obviously we as a City Hall, with the best in the world, can't control the macroeconomics and what's happening in the country in relation to interest rates and those sorts of issues and what's leading to some of the inflation across the country. What we can do though is make it easier for people during the cost of living crisis. So for example, I'm incredibly proud for the first time in the history of our city, every family with a child at primary school is saving £440 because we have, for the first time in history, universal free school meals. You've got 3 children, you're saving a lot of money as a consequence.
You're losing it on you, Les, though.
Getting charged you, Les, then.
Exactly.
Quiet, please. Let's get on with the meeting.
One of the
We
reasons
are.
why we've made sure that the London living wage has gone up the amount it has, more than 40% since I became mayor. Those people who do a hard day's work, they deserve a decent day's pay. It's now more than £13.15 in the for agencies, whereas before, 1 out of 5 Londoners did receive a London living wage. They have less than the London living wage. That's gone down now to almost 10%. More and more employees understand the benefits of paying their staff more. We've also got to recognise that those Londoners who are maybe lower paid jobs need skills to get better paid jobs. We're using the adult education budget to give free courses for those in low paid jobs or those in minimum wage jobs so they can get higher paid jobs, which is incredibly important, particularly during the cost of living crisis. We're going to carry on supporting Londoners during this difficult time with the cheapest bus fares in the country for a reason, hot bus fares for a reason. The second question is incredibly important, and actually if we're sensible, we can turn a crisis, climate change, into an opportunity.
Well, he has turned it into an opportunity, hasn't he?
More money.
We've got more than a third of the country's electric vehicle charging points. That's just been created in these charging points which tackle the climate emergencies. More rapid charging points than anything in Western Europe. That's creating jobs as well. The electric buses, we've now got more than 1,000 electric buses, more than any city in Western Europe. That's jobs being created across the country. Insulating our homes, that talked about a retrofit revolution, which is what we're embarking on. That's creating jobs, insulation, double glazing, triple glazing. Installing the water fountains is creating jobs. So instead of kicking the can down the road, is embrace
These bloody water fountains.
So guess what? When we create jobs, we reduce people's bills because homes are insulated. It means you're not spending so much on your heating bill during these.
Yeah, spend it on you, Les.
Designed well, taller ceilings, bigger windows. You have air going through your buildings. You have your fans running during the course of the summer. And it's incredibly important that we cities lead. It's quite clear that governments aren't leading it. So cities are going to be the doers, whereas the governments actually are the delayers. And the third question is really, really important about how we can support small businesses, particularly post-pandemic, during this recovery that is required so much. You know, an amazing stat, more than 95% of Londoners work for a small business. So by helping small businesses, we're helping the vast majority of Londoners. So a number of things we're doing to help small businesses. The great news, by the way, is since 2016, we've supported more than 12,000 businesses in London. Many small businesses, they help create more than 330,000 jobs. It's they that make the profits, that pays the taxes, that means we provide public services we provide. So the 2 best examples of things we are doing to support small businesses is this thing called Grow London. And this is a one-stop shop for a small business person to get support in relation to the things that help them thrive and flourish. There could be a trip to overseas to speak to venture capitalists, speak to angel investors, to sell their goods and services overseas. And the second big thing we're doing is taking the London Business Hub. So you, as a small business, may find it really difficult to take an apprentice. You might find it really difficult to apply for grant money. You You might find the cost of doing business quite difficult, getting skilled labour, getting expertise. We will help you do that with the London Business Hub. And the final thing, so it's worth mentioning, is our high streets. Our high streets are incredibly important. So
High streets are dead now, man.
high streets like small businesses on the high streets, so more and more people are walking past their shops, their businesses will go in and hopefully be potential customers.
He ain't got a clue, has he? Not a clue.
See all these pro-business. There's been pro-business.
What?
You're putting people out of business!
They're dying because of you, Les.
Assembly members that want to speak, but I want to check the audience first. So the gentleman with newspaper up there.
Yep.
Yep, me?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. We've heard a lot about government. Do you all mind just turning around? People's question time, not Prime Minister's question time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. London's economic recovery. Mr. Mayor, are you paying attention?
Nope.
No.
Of course he ain't.
Have you been out into London? Because businesses shutting, ULEZ taxing the poorest.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've got tube fares at the highest metro fare in the world. You can't build
Listen!
any houses. You can't build any houses, especially not affordable ones. London under you is crumbling.
Yep.
Every single
You're
person
destroying it!
who can be bothered to say to you that what they think. London is falling apart because of you, but it's always someone else's fault, isn't it?
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
always the government, or it's the Met Police Commissioner, or it's someone else, or you know, oh, it was a difficult weather today, so that's why the sign is bad. I'm sorry, but the buck stops at you. You are London's mayor.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
are the Police and Crime Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police. It's your responsibility. So when will you do us a favour and resign?
Yes! Yes! Resign! No one wants you!
We want Susan Hall, not Sadiq Khan.
He already works for him.
No one wants you!
So is he. White Londoners. What did he say about white Londoners?
Yeah, exactly.
This is all right. What do you have if there is businesses, especially businesses who are being affected? And this shoplifting is because of homelessness, which is really on the rise in London.
Right, I'm now going to call 4 a.m. So you better all be very quick. You've got 30 seconds each in the following order. A.M. Pirani, A.M. Polanski, and A.M. Desai. Be very short this time, please. And then finally, A.M. Boff. Go.
Thank you, sir. I'm just recovering from Councillor Susan Hall's co-councillor's speech there.
Oh, are you on GLA candidate? How many of these people work for Khan?
Yeah, so if you're excited to see some of the Facebook
questions, just like lots of the other audience.
Thank you. Thank
Why don't you just answer the question for one? 30 seconds is up.
you.
Yeah.
Questions.
30 seconds is done!
No, you've wasted your 30 seconds.
That's 30 seconds
He's
up.
had 30 seconds!
30 seconds up.
Done.
Get Khan out.
Get Khan out!
Get Khan out.
Get Khan out!
Get
Khan out! Get Khan out! Get Khan out! Get Khan out! Get Khan out! Get Khan out!
Get Khan out.
Get him out! It's all lies anyway. Yep.
Thank you. So there's a serious question somewhere in there about economic growth, and the Mayor addressed some of the issues about how London can work with industries to make sure that we have that economic growth. If we're looking at car manufacturing, for example, looking at how maybe some of our environmental policies, as well as when London and TfL invest in buses, can help to improve economic growth and boost jobs in other parts of the country. What we need to see is actually a serious government that takes London seriously and recognises the importance that we have, especially on a global platform, If we look at the fastest growing industry before the pandemic in London, it was culture and tourism and the creative industries. And we have had investment from City Hall in terms of London Borough of Culture. I know in my area, my constituency,
Okay, that's a long
in
30
particular,
seconds,
we have
isn't it?
massive investment in culture and creative industries. There's a cultural enterprise zones as well, which is boosting local projects and local artists to get to that next stage. And as someone who represents an area that includes Wembley Stadium, if you look at the programme of activity that we had over this summer in particular in terms of concerts, events and sporting events as well, it's something that we really need to drive London. I know that the work that London partners are doing is promoting London as that global tourist destination, because it's only by working and recognising
30 seconds.
London's significance to the UK that we can get that economic growth and boost and get that recovery that we all need.
Thank you, Zach.
Fuck up.
Thank you. Obviously, we've heard about a cost of living crisis, but actually what we've got in this country and in London is an inequality crisis. Plenty of people are doing perfectly well right now, and what we really need to be doing is taxing wealth. So when we think about environmental justice, there's no there's no environmental justice without social, racial and economic justice too, and it's vital that we always make sure that black and brown communities, working class communities, people with disabilities co-design and co-produce any measures to tackle the climate crisis. And for example, when we look at transport, it can't make sense that if you can't afford to live in zone 1 but you live in zone 6, you have to pay more if you're a key worker to get into zone 1. So we should be looking at things like flat fares across the whole of the transport infrastructure to make sure that we're keeping fares as low as possible. Now the Mayor's getting some of this right, but recently when I asked him about private jets, this is something that's used by 1% of the population, not even 1%. He said that he wouldn't condemn all use of private jets in London because sometimes there might be exceptional circumstances, like time of day. I think it's vital we make sure that when we're making measures, we're making sure we're thinking about the 99% of Londoners and not the 1% of wealthiest Londoners. And finally, having had a go at the Mayor, I want to congratulate him on free school meals. He talks about this a lot, but to be honest, if I come up with free school meals and got that going in London, I'd talk about it a lot too. It's really important that children going to bed tonight will have been to school. They might be living in poverty, but when they went to school, they've had a decent meal. We know the research that shows that universality doesn't just obviously help them with their nutrition, but also helps with their learning attainment, and that's really important. The principle of universality should be extended. I've been campaigning for a universal basic income. There's a community in East Finchley that have been setting up community pilot projects for themselves, and I'm really pleased that the Mayor said he's proud of that project, and he applauds them. What I'd like to see him is getting behind that project even more and helping to fund it, or at least wrap around support, because a universal basic income should be the future, so no one has to live in poverty or insecurity. Thank you, Chair.
Very quickly, Chair. Two concrete measures to tackle the cost of living crisis by this Labour Mayor. Hard facts. He increased the London living wage by 10% to £13.15, has risen by 40% since 2016. Also, the announcement at Olympic Stadium, and that's the way to tackle the cost of living crisis, which is also a crisis about low wages. And secondly,
increase council tax by 10%.
Free school meals. I did not just get paid for it. I actually helped implement it. I was a councillor in this area for 20 years. And in 2009, I was part of the administration that introduced the country's first free school meals program, saving a family with 2 kids £667 a year. Solid measures.
Nobody cares.
For 1 year. But I can tell you what, talk to those people who are benefiting from this scheme. Assembly member Bass, who's not here, actually said it's like reversing Robin Hood, taking from the poor to give to the rich. Well, that actually is completely sort of contradiction of reality. The families who benefit from free school meals appreciate it. There's a concrete way to beat the cost of living crisis. Thank you.
No, I feel sorry for the Mayor, only because of the party he's in, really. You know, he's got plenty of money. He's increased council tax, or his precepts of council tax since he got elected by 58%. He's sloshing around City Hall. And you know, there's very rare occasions, on very rare occasions, the Assembly actually has the power to change the Mayor's budget. And if we all agree, or most of us agree, 2/3 of us agree, we can actually change the Mayor's budget. So at the budget setting, we had a proposal. All the parties had voted for improving the transport network so that there were more changing place toilets for the disabled on the transport network. All the parties agreed with that, except for Labour. We then proposed that we should have a better scrappage scheme, so that those small businesses that have now been put out of business by the mayor's ULEZ would at least have the resources to be able to upgrade their vehicles. All the Assembly supported that, except Labour.
Shame.
As Assembly Member Harani said earlier, we needed to invest in buses. And so we then said we'd use some of that money to invest in buses in out of London, because we realise how important those buses are to the economy of London. And all the Assembly members voted for, except Labour.
Oh, there's a thing.
Now, all I would ask you to do is feel sorry for the mayor because of the party he's in.
No one feels
And
sorry.
it's a shame that with the available money that he's now got, he's presiding over the death of the economy, especially the nighttime economy in London. And he's even gone to the extent, he's so pleased with his record on the nighttime economy in London, that he's rewarded the night czar a 40% pay increase. Presiding over a year-on-year decline of the nightlife in London. And it makes you wonder, perhaps we should put in a perverse alternative. Perhaps we should actually have a night czar for doing nothing. Because at least then you know they're going to fail. They might get something done. So the mayor has failed, but he's failed because of the party he's in. Feel sorry for him.
No.
Never.
No one feels sorry for him.
I'd like to do a couple for culture, health, and education.
There he goes, the fucking mug.
There's some people with a question about
Oh, apologies. Go ahead.
So before I get to your really important questions, so can I just say, when it came to a vote for free school meals, the Tories voted against it. So we can talk about voting all day long, which is just a fact in relation to their voting record. But
Yeah.
coming on
Exactly.
that's a really important question.
Yeah. £12.50.
So can I,
No. Fuck off. Yes.
your children are trying to have an issue. So can I just raise a really important question in relation to not just theft from shops, but also assault of shop workers working in shops. I've got family and friends who work in shops. So
I've got friends.
You ain't got friends. His imaginary friend.
So in relation to theft from shops, there has been a big increase over the last period. You're right, some of it is because of the cost of living crisis. Some retailers now are putting dummy nappies out. Nappies are being stolen, children's food, and so forth. And you're right, a lot of it. I'm not excusing.
I thought you said crime under you was going
A
down.
lot of it is
Yeah.
because of the cost of living crisis. Mums not able to afford nappies and food for their kids and so forth. And so you're right.
So why are you charging her £12.50 then? You're a disgrace. No.
And we know half the families in London are just about managing or are financially struggling, and that's why free school meals is making a difference to those.
Crappy
And you Les isn't.
What the police are doing.
Exactly.
What the police are doing is working with shopkeepers, but you'll appreciate that what some shopkeepers are doing, which is great, is having good preventive measures, but some shops can't afford to do those, so the police are supporting them with advice what they can do to reduce thefts. The second part of the equation, though, is assaults on staff, and I think it's right that those who do that and are caught and are charged receive more serious sentences for assaulting staff. Many retailers lost their lives during the pandemic because of the spread of the virus. We've got a team working with the business community.
It's got nothing to do with anything.
Just wait outside will give you some how to reach us to get specific advice on your shop to make sure you have less thefts and less assaults as well.
Vote for Susan, that's the best way.
Last two questions.
Oh, definitely.
The young gentleman at the back here, number 5, please. And the lady there, number 1.
My question is
Good evening. Sorry. I'd like to ask